First-time filmmaker Kristopher Belman went back to his hometown of Akron, Ohio, to shoot the story of the St. Vincent St. Mary Irish, the high school basketball team who went on to win the 2002 national championship and its breakout superstar LeBron James. Belman talked with Red Carpet Crash about the making of the unique sports documentary, More Than a Game.
Maybe a year before, that had mentioned that four of them had played together since fourth grade. And they had made a bond that they were going to go to high school together. And that really stuck with me, because I thought that was a kind of a sophisticated decision to make, revolving around friendship at that point, And, also knowing the city and the school like I did, these are four African-American kids, inner city kids. They decided to go to a predominantly white private school. I thought, well, that's kind of a unique decision. So when I researched that a little bit more, it turned out that that was the only school they felt they could continue staying together, and I was really kind of blown away by that. It stuck in my head. I thought, man, that's, a lot of people in their 30s and 40s don't really have that kind of grasp on friendship or are willing to make that decision. And when you're 12 and 13, I remember that's kind of when everyone's in their selfish phase and you're kind of just looking out for yourself. But these boys really made that decision together, and I thought that was really inspiring in a way. So I decided that was going to be the focus of this 10-minute class project. I figured I could at least get 10 minutes out of it. That's all I really needed at that point. So that's when I approached the school and the coach. I took some camera equipment from school back home. I crashed at my parents' house, and it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to finally get in touch with someone. Because, at this point, everyone was trying to get to LeBron, and, the school was really hesitant about media, and they wanted to maintain some normalcy. And so I was finally put in touch with someone, and someone at the school actually, they set up the meeting with Coach Drew, and I remember them saying, well, just so you know, we just rejected 60 minutes from a piece, and LeBron just turned down David Letterman, so good luck. I'm like, great, I'm 21 years old, I've got this camera, I don't really know how to use it. I'm thinking, okay, I've got zero shot at this, so might as well go give it my all, go give it the old college try, since I'm in college. And I just said, hey, Coach, I know you guys are being approached by all kinds of people right now. Just want you to know I'm from Akron. This is, this isn't about LeBron. This is about these 5 boys, and it's about friendship more than anything. I made that very clear. And then I said, you have to help me get an A, Coach. You know what I mean? Like, this is for a class project. You can't say no to an A. I guess that was a cheap shot, but it worked. So, Coach gave me permission to come to one practice. He said, all right, come to practice tomorrow and get what you need for your 10-minute assignment. So I came that next day, and I was blown away. Not by the things they were doing on the court, even though they were pretty incredible, but, if you guys had walked in this room and those guys were all here, you could tell within just like 5 or 10 minutes, these guys have known each other all their lives, It just felt that way. They were finishing each other's jokes. They were referencing things from years past. It was really kind of a special environment. And I was like, man, one day's not enough for this. I still don't know what it would be, but I felt like one day's not enough. So I remember going home that night and watching my footage, and I had the headphones plugged in. I heard Coach say, all right, guys, tomorrow practice is at 7 a.m. So I thought, I guess he's talking to me too, right? I thought, all right, I'm going to come back at 7 a.m. and see what happens. So I just showed up again with my camera, and no one said anything. I got a couple strange looks, but no one said anything, and I really stayed, away from everything. I was filming from a distance, but no one said anything. So at the end of practice, I heard him tell him what time practice was the day after that, and I thought, all right, I'm going to come back to that as well. And I literally just kept coming back after that. It was the kind of thing where they never said, hey, you can do it, but they never said you can't do it. So I just kept coming along until finally it was almost like I was that unofficial member of the team that sucked at basketball.
It would have been a really easy decision since it is basketball and it's got an almost urban vibe to it to begin with. Mm-hmm. But you kept it mainstream, not only from the graphics choices, but the choices in music, the instrumental version of the polyphonic spree that you used in one sequence.
Okay, yeah.
Was that just something that you decided from the beginning that was the route you were going to take?
Well, a lot of the things that you see, it's weird because I took it more mainstream, which in a way isn't mainstream, because with basketball in so many ways, it does go hip-hop music and it goes, a certain urban style and things like that. And to me, that's become so mainstream associated with basketball and the sports that it's become television, and not to take anything away from television, but I really always wanted this to be on the big screen. I felt like the story warranted that. And I felt like the most cinematic way to do it was to go in a more mainstream cinematic way, which is less mainstream associated with urban style. I thought that was very important, and we did a lot of experimenting. The game in which they play the modern day, who used to be the Southern California All Stars. This was my editor Scott, who's just a brilliant filmmaker himself. It was a revenge game. We decided to go with some rock, some rock and roll. I mean, there was a rap element within the lyrics, but it was a true guitar riff that was all about rock, and you don't really see that with basketball. And I thought it worked so well, kind of going against that grain with that. I think that those little subtle differences are what can take a film from being, say, an ESPN 2-hour special to being on the big screen, and to being successful at a festival like Toronto. I think it's all about those tiny little details that come together in a way. It's just about making it as cinematic as possible.
Get to do the great work with the stills to give that 3D effect.
Visual effects.
Yeah.
I can't say enough great things about Stefan Nadelman is his name. He's based out of Portland. He's just kind of a one-man crew. He did all of that stuff himself, and he one of the things that I set out for early on when I really felt like this could be a feature-length film was I decided, even though it's a basketball-driven film, and LeBron James is a star, in the world of basketball, I felt like there were themes in this film that could reach a broader audience. Brotherhood, family, dreams, and overcoming. I thought those things can appeal to everyone. And I wanted to apply those same philosophies to the filmmaking. I thought, I love the genre of documentary. I think it's a phenomenal genre, but I feel like I wanted this film to appeal to people that didn't like documentary. And to do that, I felt like we had to incorporate styles and, make sure that it had not like a sports center vibe to it, but I wanted the still photos to be treated in a way that was cinematic. To stay away from sports television and make it as cinematic as possible. So I felt like, orchestra. We recorded an 85-piece live orchestra for the score. I mean, that for a documentary, that's crazy. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, but we did it anyway. With visual effects, I thought it was really important. I knew we were going to have a lot of still photos that we were limited to using. So how do we bring those to life? There's been a lot of advancements in the past 10 years with treatments of still photos. Kid Stays in the Picture, very groundbreaking in their photo treatment. Dogtown and Z-Boys, and the way they used photos, for 10 seconds, and they made like 7 different shots out of it, very innovative. So I met with a ton of visual effects artists, and when I met with Stefan, I was blown away, first at his artistry and all of his work, and secondly, he had no idea who LeBron James was. And this is about 2.5 years ago, so LeBron was already in the league and really famous. I thought that was really cool. This guy wasn't a basketball fan, he wasn't a sports guy. He brought like a whole different world to it, so that I could just talk to him in themes and emotions, and then he would collaborate and bounce things back and give it to me in a way that even I didn't think was possible. I remember basically saying, all right, here's Kid Stays in the Picture. They take 2D images, they make half a dimension extra, they make it 2.5 dimension, but it's a biopic, so it's a little slower paced, and this is basketball, so it has to be frenetic. So I said, take Kid Stays in the Picture, add Dogtown and Z-Boys, and give it some cocaine. That's what I told Stefan to do. And he gave me back the first test thing. The first thing he ever showed me was the Sports Illustrated sequence. And those are all still photos. I mean, he's adding movements in the arms and the transition. I was blown away. I was like, wait a minute, did we send him video? I was really blown away. And I called him up, and I was like, you're in. Let's do it. Let's get started. It was just amazing. And hardworking guy, one guy, he knocked it all out. He was a pleasure to work with.